What's cracking, my silly dusters? I'm Rido, and welcome back to another trip on the Rido roller coaster. And today we're going to be doing a classic in the Rido archive and doing some Rido news. It's because there's so much going on in the anime community at the moment, so I'm going to take a couple of stories and just talk about them and see what we think of this whole situation. So get strapped into this Rido roller coaster and let us begin. So the first big news, it's been going on for about 3 weeks now, and obviously it's not some a lot of YouTubers probably talk about because of licensing and things like that, and that is the closure and the big hack on MangaDex. So if you don't know, are familiar with MangaDex, MangaDex is probably one of the biggest um, pirating sites of fan translations of manga out there. It's a website I've used in the past, and I will thoroughly admit that. You upload your ones on there, and you can read all these different mangas, all the translations. It's amazing. It's like manga is truly at your fingertips. Well, recently, about 3 to 4 weeks ago now, there was a severe attack and a breach where they tried to save data or something, a hack. And so basically, they're saying we're shutting it down. They completely shut it down. You can't go on there, and loads of people are upset, obviously. And I would say it was one of the bigger ones I would use to read manga in a digital format because it was so good, and you would get a lot of anime you would never even think you'd read. Some really random ones, what people have fan translated, and it's really fun. And there's actually a decent community on there as well for people who just like to talk about the anime and have a bit of fun. So yes, the pirates are in rage. They have got their swords and they are saying, why did this happen? So they are going to be apparently releasing a version 5, and there are fears of security risks. So one of the questions we might be saying here is our data at risk? Is the data what they now have? Can they use it? So what they reckon they have is the password information. So your password. So one of the things of protection is check what passwords you had while using this account. Be really interesting to check that, and I would urge you anyway, if this has happened, and so if the MangaDex team urge you to change your password, it's a really good idea because otherwise you might be at risk. And if they use the same email address for other accounts, you do it. A lot of people recommend a password generator. I think that's a good idea if you can be organized, not like me. Otherwise, just flare it up. Just change things. Think of a new phrase. Anime and Japanese. Think of that one phrase like "my wo mo shinderu," or you know, think of say "baka, baka, baka." This is my password. Okay, if you use that as a password, that's up to you. But that's just a bit of fun. Think of just really random phrases would be my security idea. But this is not advice. I'm not some security guru right here. I'm just here to tell you the news. And that is, yeah, this is a really big thing in the manga community. Yes, there are going to be some of those elitists who say, it shouldn't exist anyway. The same people who were very against Kiss Anime. And this is probably one of the reasons a lot of people get into anime, because it's such available on this platform. So, what is the future of it? Well, I have fears personally that they may never recover from this. While they have insisted on version 5 is coming and it should be coming in the next few weeks, only time will tell. But I have my fears that it's just not gonna stay. It's gonna go flop. They've tried to fix these kind of things before, and it seems that the hacker is trying to deliberately mess it up and continuously not help them work on it. But who would expect them to be honest? They're hackers. They're doing it for fun. They're probably someone who don't want this. So yeah, that causes a problem. And people have raised fears that they're asking for developers to help them. What if the hacker is in this circle and he's deliberately messing up the process on working on version 5 of MangaDex? These are all issues, what could happen. So people are actually wondering, what else can I use apart from MangaDex? And people have been saying, well, they're just not working as well. You know, you can have the official ones. I think Crunchyroll, you can read manga on. I don't know if anyone does that actually. I've got Crunchyroll, but I've never done that. And I've there's other websites, but they're just not as good. And it's because it has such a user face friendly interface, MangaDex, and so it's a big loss for the manga community. And a lot of people are just saying, where am I going to read my manga? So obviously there are others about there, but you have to be very careful. And obviously, if they don't have your kind of things on there, it's going to be difficult. So that's the first story. Tell me what you think of that. So the second story we're going to be talking about today is some anime introductions. What have been said are being coming out soon, based on mangas. So the first one is My Dressing Up Darling manga has been announced as for an anime. So My Dress Up Darling cosplay manga is really interesting. It's one I've been following for a while now. So it's pretty wholesome actually. It's a really nice wholesome anime about basically this guy who I believe was a doll maker, and he liked making dolls' clothes and things. And then he meets like this Guru, and she's really popular. And so, oh, she finds out about his hobbies, and is like, oh, maybe I can use my hobbies because she's secretly massive in cosplay. So he goes and says, oh yeah, and they make cosplays together and do all these events, and it's a really unique story about this, and I really love it. So I'm really interested to see what they do with this anime, and I'm really excited to see it, how they portray it, who's going to do it. That's really interesting. So I'm really excited to see where that's going. I really like the characters in that. The main character is really fun, and so is the main female lead. Just some also really good side characters in this, and the whole process, it speaks about getting the materials for cosplay. So if you're a cosplay addict, I think this is going to be right up your avenue, and you're really going to enjoy this anime. So a final piece of news I have for you, while it might not be news, I think it's something what it should be spoken about, is that now officially the Attack on Titan manga has been finished. It is over. Famoosh. It is gone. It's We had the last chapter, and I personally read it, and yeah, I'm happy with this. And did some really interesting things about this because it marks an end of an era. Later, if it's not this year, next year, we're going to be getting part two of the anime. And after that finishes, it'll be the end of an era where Attack on Titan has near enough dominated the cultural sphere. And yes, maybe you say My Hero came along and has really done it, but I don't think people. I think people these days do underestimate the actual drive Attack on Titan has. I remember being at school all these years ago and seeing people read Attack on Titan when I'd never seen people read manga in my life before. It became a cultural phenomenon, and I don't think it's right to underestimate. There's going to be a gap. What is going to fill the new Attack on Titan? This gritty subgenre. It just encapsulated everything anime likes, and it brought so many Western fans to the series. And let's talk briefly about the last chapter. So I'm not going to get into too many details, but the ending for me was actually pretty interesting. I'm not going to spoil it for you because that wouldn't be fair. But it leaves room for a sequel. Yes, Attack on Titan is over because the translation of Shingeki no Kyojin, I believe, is the Attacking Titan, and the Attacking Titan is obviously meant to be the Attack Titan, and so the Attack Titan story is over. It's gone. But now, so, thanks to certain things, there could be a future installment for, say, what happens to other people after it. How do people survive after this certain climactic event? You could have an anime based on that. And so Hajime Isayama has a really good chance to really extend the lore. Yes, he's made some sequels like this before the fall, I think. Maybe that'll get an anime, I don't know. But I don't think that's going to be as popular because people are in love with these characters. Levi, Eren, Mikasa, Armin, Jean, and all of them, they're in love with them. And I don't think it will be the same, but there's still hope for the Attack on Titan verse. And I think it's just important to take a moment to realize, now that the manga is finished, what's going to compete with it? What's going to be the following on thing? And I think that's really interesting to think about. So that brings this video to a nice close. This video was not meant to be a massive long video. It's just a few thoughts on certain things what have been going on at the moment. The big one was the MANGADEX, and make sure to do comments on that. Really appreciate it. Also, if you've seen the cosplay manga, make sure to tell me what your thoughts on it. And if you haven't, make sure to check it out. It's pretty good. And finally, what are your thoughts on Attack on Titan? How do you think the ending went? Because the ending for some is quite controversial. So I want to see your thoughts on the comment section below. And if you don't want to do it on the comment section, make sure to head over to my Twitter, where we can have a conversation there. Make sure to follow me on there for some great comments. And I do like to comment on there. So it's always a bit of fun. And yeah, really appreciate if you could like and subscribe to this video. I don't want to sound desperate, but it really helps me get motivated. Every time I see that subscriber hit up from 116 to 170, it motivates me to make another video. That moment when I get a comment, it really motivates me to say, oh, like, someone is watching my content, and it will encourage me to continue to make videos. So I really appreciate it if you could take the time to do that. And so yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next trip of the Rido roller coaster. See you guys. Rido out.